Hello everyone, Metal Snake here. Today's subject is an annoying and uncomfortable one, but I feel that a video would do it justice. As a disclaimer, I would like to say that most of this video is opinion, but any statements I make, I can back up with factual evidence. I do not hate all of Trick or Treat Studios products, but some are very disappointing. I'm not criticizing anyone but Chris Zeffiro and whoever paints these 2018 Myers masks, but for different reasons each. Also, if you like Chris Zeffiro or Trick or Treat Studios and you're tempted to immediately dislike the video, please just watch it through before forming an opinion. That's all I ask. A while back, my friend, who will remain nameless as he no longer would like affiliation, made a Facebook post describing this video and the contents. Naturally, Chris quickly saw this post. Chris made several claims that if anything in the video was incorrect, he would take us to court for deformation. It's still defamation, Chris. In one of his replies to a comment on this post, he failed to mention if anything was incorrect, and instead said if that video was uploaded, then threatened a lawsuit. I have a screenshot of that. Chris and my friend had at it over email for a while. Then the argument was transferred to me, as I had hoped for. I was going to do a recorded interview with Chris to put in this video, but he said he would not give consent if he were to be bashed in the same video. I asked all of my questions over email. I criticized him on how he dealt with customers. After my first lengthy message, Chris returned with an even longer response. Chris denies that he ever made a threat to file a lawsuit for uploading the video. At the end of his initial response, he wrote, "I appreciate your concern, but I'm proud of Justin, Tots, and myself and our reputation among the majority, and we sell to over 35,000 stores worldwide, and our reputation is just fine." We're going to take note of this for later, specifically the 35,000 stores worldwide part. Chris also mentioned guilt by association in the same email, referring to a friend of mine who collects all history things, including Soviet and communist memorabilia, not just Nazi things. This is also important to remember for later. I explained that I had screenshots of him saying that a lawsuit was coming if the video was uploaded. I asked him about why, if he had such a successful company selling to over 35,000 stores worldwide and owning a $50 million business, also admitting his revenue tripled this year, does he care so much about independent makers replicating the 2018 design? Chris first made sure it was clear that I had 281 subscribers, which seemed like an unnecessary comment entirely. He said, and I quote, "I don't care, but my licensors do. Show me one C&D authored by Trick or Treat Studios to any independent artist. It doesn't exist, and since you know everything, you should know that I couldn't write one if I wanted to, as I'm not authorized by my licensors to write a C&D. Well, it just so happens someone did issue a C&D to an indie artist from the Trick or Treat Studios Instagram account. However, it was not a formal or legal C&D. We'll touch again on that later." And then another quote from Chris, "There is no explanation. The production run looks great and we stand behind it, and I can show you 100 masks side by side and the variation is so minimal. Believe what you want, but it is of my opinion that these two masks look nothing alike. You can probably see that Trick or Treat mask is much more yellow and has less paint detail in the cracks, along with less weathering along the nose. I told Chris that the quality of their masks degraded over time, but he was correct in that I didn't have evidence, and I was wrong to assume that they degraded over time. I'll give them that some of their 2018 masks look fine, but there are a lot that look like the one in this screenshot, and that bothers the hell out of me, along with many collectors. Next, I mentioned how unprofessional it was for him to respond to all the hate and criticism he received. I believe that as the CEO of a $50 million business, it is your responsibility to make a good image for yourself all the time. This means placing yourself above the criticism and taking a passive route each and every time. Chris replied, "And creating a video about something you know nothing about is professional? It baffles me that after acknowledging that I was a small YouTube channel with 281 subscribers, you expect me to act as a professional as a CEO. Later on he said, "I have never slammed anyone who didn't have it coming to them." After these responses, Chris asked me these 5 questions. "If you dislike me so much, even though we've never met, why do you continue to rehaul my masks and profit off them?" I responded, "I dislike you in the 2018 mask, never said I didn't like your other stuff. The 2018 mask would be a perfect candidate for a rehaul, but I certainly won't be buying it. And anything I don't rehaul from you I make myself, though there are plenty of Ruby's masks that can be rehauled. Their sculpts are fine, the finishes are terrible." Next he asked, "Why don't you rehaul Ruby's and Fun World masks? Because those are the masks you'd be rehauling if it wasn't for us." And that was my response from above. "Why would you throw stones at me when you're sending a guy to solicit information who has Nazi symbols all over his YouTube channel? By the way, I doubt a California jury would be impressed with that association and the information he collects for you." I responded, "And if you want to bring up Nazi symbolism, last time I checked, Lemmy from Motorhead has an entire shrine of Nazi stuff, so I would discontinue Motorhead products if I were you. You're not making any valid point by telling me that my friend, who collects all history stuff, including Soviet memorabilia, is going to get me into trouble. Number 4, do you support Chinese companies ripping off American companies, or do you only support Americans ripping off American companies?" I replied, "As far as Chinese ripping off American companies, that's entirely different. They aren't independent. They can mass produce for ludicrous cheap prices. An independent artist has to hand make all their masks. And don't tell me that yours are handmade too. It's a process, much like an assembly line. I'm aware there are legal issues with both China and the US recreating designs that have been on the big screen, but unfortunately it seems you'll have to have every last one of us arrested before it stops, because telling us that we can't sell our hard work and we have to buy your crappy masks is bullshit. His fifth question and final question was, what is your endgame here? You want Tots out of business? If that happens, you won't have much to rehaul anymore. Seems like you have nothing to gain as you won't impact us or change me, but you could lose a lot. Doesn't seem like the risk-reward is worth it, and I might not be good at spelling, but I'm a whiz at math. My final response was, I didn't say I wanted Tots out of business. I sure as hell want you, Chris Zefro, replaced, though I know that won't happen. If I can upload a video expressing my opinions and how much of an inconsiderate and greedy corporate bastard you've been, then of course I'm going to. Now on to your other points. You called me unprofessional for making a video on something I know nothing about. Not only am I not the CEO of a large company, I don't have to maintain a good image because I don't have money or my widely known reputation at stake. I know how this exchange has gone so far. I know how you've been threatening a lawsuit, and I know I've seen you be extremely hypocritical, even based on the short time I've been speaking with you. If you don't believe me on threatening a lawsuit, check the replies on that post you made with the screenshot of my friend's post. It's there. You're right that I can't prove that the quality of the mask dropped over time. It's provable, however, that there have been many, not most, amazing copies that are simply above the rest. If I want to say that I think that's true, that some copies are better than others, good luck suing me. I won't even have to say it. I'll just put two side-by-side pictures on screen. Everyone with eyes will know exactly what it means. It's not just the process, but the outcome that matters, even if you really do have some tutorial video. By the way, Trick or Treat Studios has never issued a C&D. Explain this. And in quotation marks, which I'll put the screenshot up right now, but it says you need to cease and desist all production of your 2018 Myers masks. My company, Trick or Treat Studios, is the official costume licensor of the Halloween 2018 mask. If you are unable to comply, blah, 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 sent by the Trick or Treat Studios Instagram account. And then I said, I would hope you didn't just lie to me because that would cause some major problems on your end. So, at this point, I'm thinking I've got him where I want him, mentioning that whole cease and desist thing. Here is his response to that. I skimmed over your email, and here's what I gleaned. Number 1, stealing from American companies is okay with you, as long as if it's an independent artist doing it. Number 2, you don't know the difference between a warning and a formal C&D. Number 3, you like Ruby's masks, but not masks from movie molds. So good luck with your video. I'm sure your 281 members will enjoy it, and if you say one unprovable point in the video, I will look forward to meeting you in person in California Municipal Court. Your friend to the end, Chris. So, what I believe Chris has demonstrated right here is one of the most annoying outcomes I could have imagined. Chris has said himself in the past, first of all, that he has intentionally turned a blind eye to independent artists. Second, he didn't say whether or not Tots had issued a formal C&D. He flat out just said they've never issued a C&D. We saw that while it may not have been a legal C&D, we all knew what it was. At this point, I will now show some screenshots of Chris acting the way a CEO should not. Here's a screenshot where he tells people they will regret painting their Tots masks, which the majority of us don't have any regrets about doing. Another screenshot shows Chris admitting to collecting indie masks and admitting that it does in fact hurt people involved with the films, which in my opinion doesn't fit with his stress on how successful he is, which was more than once. Here's Chris saying that the masks are exactly how Nelson, Van Dyke, and Mabry intended, which seems a lot less concrete than saying that they are painted exactly how they are in the film. I asked him if he had deleted any posts regarding my friend's initial post, and he said, I have no idea what you were talking about, be more specific. Also, I personally don't do social media posts. 6 months ago, we hired a social media manager, and he handles all posts and moderation on Tots social media platforms under Tots accounts, and he uses my personal account to manage the Tots fan club page on Facebook. I don't like Chris. There are plenty of allegations against him that I don't have any evidence for. You may look into those if you like, but I can't state them publicly. That would be slander. He's got a point about that, so I will leave those out. Most of this video was based on my experience with him after I just said I'd be uploading a video on him, with dirt on him. Most of the content for this video came with his absolutely unprofessional response. Sorry to everyone who helped provide allegations and screenshots if your info didn't make it into the video. Ultimately, I'll leave it up to you to decide whether or not you agree with me, but I believe that Chris Zefro is anything but a professional CEO. Thank you for watching. Thank you everyone who helped me make this video possible. And Chris, cool off, man.